A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AB Women in Business Conference, which will bring together more than 200 leading businesswomen, entrepreneurs, and humanitarians to discuss the juicy topics of the role of female leaders and increase that workforce diversity. My name is Mina Vucic, and I'll be your host today behind the scenes at the AB Women in Business Conference. I'm off to catch some powerful women in the industry for a quick chat. Hope you enjoy the event coverage. With me is Her Excellency Shamsa Saleh, the Secretary General of the UAE Gender Balance Council. Thank you so much for coming here today. It's an honor having you in a great keynote speech. How are you feeling?
Thank you for your invitation, and I'm proud to be part of this amazing event, which focuses on women empowerment and especially economic participation of women.
So I would like to ask you, could you tell us what role do these government initiatives play in really empowering female positions in the region?
First of all, our government believes highly in partnership with the private sector. So we had, several conversations since the inception of the council with private sector companies, also to fulfill the SDG number 5 goals. So they came up with, the whole group came up with the idea of signing a pledge with the UAE Gender Balance Council. So many international organizations were very responsive in signing this commitment to increase women participation by 30% in 2025. Lots of initiatives happening with the private sector, with international organizations that helps to narrow the gender gap in the country and the region.
You should be very proud of all these initiatives and partnerships, and thank you so much for coming here today. With me up next is Dr. Mariam Ficolcello, the Chief Governance Officer of the Red Sea Development Company. A lovely keynote speech out there, and thank you for coming over here at the AB Women in Business Conference. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me. It's really nice to be back in person talking to people about things that really matter.
We really miss these live in-person events.
Indeed, yeah.
All right, so my first question for you, Miriam, it's been quite some time now since the Saudi government has published all these recommendations of Vision 2030 regarding, promoting entrepreneurship of females and increasing the participation of female workforce by 20%, if I'm not mistaken. So I would like to ask you, could you just tell us how successful is Saudi Arabia at the moment, in your opinion, in really involving women more and increasing their employment rate? And if you can just tell us maybe and describe the changes that you have witnessed in the last couple of years in Saudi.
Sure. So the target was 30% more females in the so 30% females by 2030. That was part of the targets that Saudi Arabia has as part of its Vision 2030. We are very pleased that we've reached that target 10 years before time. I think there's a natural evolution that happened in Saudi as the Vision 2030 strategy was being put in place. There's been diversification of the economy, so more new sectors have come out. We have a bigger population that's ready for the workforce, but we also have a number of things that are enablement factors. We have laws around harassment that have been codified, laws around privacy that have been codified as well, and I think all of that together, obviously, the multi factors that have helped improve our female employment and representation in the workforce, which we're really happy and excited about.
You must be very proud, and it's great news. Now, I would like to ask you, what can companies specifically do to really empower and retain women, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I think I always like to say that it's not only an issue of women, it's actually an issue of trying to ensure that there is diversity of age. So, the older generation and the younger generation, people with disabilities, people with mental health issues, women, men, people that are going through different stages of their life. The only way to ensure it is that you have the right wellness and the right fairness structures and policies in place. And that only comes by obviously setting the tone at the top from leadership, but also creating and fostering that culture where employers care about every part of their organization. It's a lot of work and it's not an easy role, but I think it's really fostering employee wellness and fostering employee diversity and being accepting to people making mistakes and being welcoming to people trying different roles and exposing them to different roles. Whether, again, I really don't like the conversation to only be about women, because I think it's diversity in general. The recipe for success is to cater for the diversity.
Very, I would say, significant statement right there. And I would love to chat to you for the rest of the day. However, we have to wrap up our discussion now. My final question for you would be, what is your secret to your success?
I don't think there's a secret, honestly. I think it's a lot of hard work and good advice and not giving up and asking for help and asking for help from colleagues and peers and senior people that know better than me and just working on that and continuing to try and improve all the time.
Thank you so much for coming over here today. It was an honor having you, and have a lovely day ahead.
Thank you for having me.
All right, with me up next is Joy David, the Chief Marketing Officer at Amana. Great panel discussion out there. You were excellent. How are you feeling after the conversation?
Thank you for that. I'm just really grateful that I got the opportunity to take part in this discussion. And the more you talk about it, the more you realize how, the impact it has and how important it is. Yeah.
When it comes to women empowerment, are we talking about gender equality, or is it more than that?
It's a lot more than that. If you talk about Amana specifically in the investment space, it's not just empowering women to join the workforce or to work in tech. It's about empowering women to start taking control of their financial wealth and their financial journey. They're not investing as much as men, and they're not investing as early as men. They're definitely not taking the lead. Finance world or wealth or investment, you would associate that with a man in a suit. You wouldn't immediately think of a woman. So that lack of representation, it sends out the message to women and girls growing up that that's not me, that this is something that men do. And so they're on the corporate side. And on the cultural side, there's still this belief that, men make the money, men bring in, but that's changing. And so it's important for us at Amana to provide that access, not just to women, but to women, to men, and to youth in general. And I think our main message is just start. Take that opportunity to learn. Start the earlier you start learning and the earlier you start investing, that's really how you win.
Do you think men are bigger risk takers than women when it comes to investment?
I think they can be, which is why women can be better investors.
Your personal icon of an empowered businesswoman, and what sets them apart?
That's a good question, because when you ask me, if you think of an empowered businesswoman, it's if you think about it, it's much harder to answer. Because if you ask me about a businessman, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, they're all there. If you think about a woman, would a woman CEO come to mind? It's much harder. For example, in politics, Angela Merkel, Jacinda Ardern, phenomenal examples of female leaders. In the entertainment industry, Reese Witherspoon, Oprah. So there are so many examples. Yeah. So I would say these are women who, to me, have just not only broken the barrier but exemplified just phenomenal styles of leadership.
Up next with me is Roberto Shalabi, the Growth Markets Talent Acquisition Lead at Avanade. Roberto, as talent acquisition lead, what role do you think employers really play in creating diversity and really getting those female workers on board of a company when it comes to their employment?
That's a great question. First of all, diversity is absolutely fundamental to our culture and to our business strategy. Our purpose is to make a genuine human impact, and so diversity is embedded in everything that we do.
What are the ways in which your company really supports women empowerment, and if you could give us maybe a specific example when women were prioritized in your company?
Numerous examples, and again, it is embedded in everything we do. Just this last fiscal year, which ended in August, we announced that 40% of our hiring globally was female. Numerous programs in terms of sponsoring our women, developing them, ensuring that they have the right pathways, the right support mechanisms, and also role models. Our CEO is actually a woman running this multi-billion-dollar company, and so we're very proud of that, and we believe it has ripple effects and positive for all our employees. So very proud to be at Avanade.
That's great to hear. A great panel discussion out there. Thank you so much for coming over and have a great day ahead.
Thank you very much.
Gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but also a foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable future. And with me today, I have Heba Hisham, the Regional Private Sector Development Analyst at UN Women. A lovely panel discussion out there, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now. So, Heba, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, obviously. Goal number 5 states achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. So, could you tell us how does this relate in the private sector, in your opinion?
Thank you so much. So our primary vehicle for SDG 5 is actually the Women's Empowerment Principles. And basically, I was speaking about this earlier today. It's a framework of 7 principles that we promote. We've tried to customize it, to the Arab region in particular, but it looks really across the board, looking inside at your policies as a company, whether it's your opportunities for leadership, whether it's, pay equity, safety in the workplace, but then also, our kind of unique add-in, I think, is that it also tries to look at what your role is within the wider business ecosystem.
What advice would you give young people out there that are just starting off their careers, knowing there is this gap in gender equality in the world, unfortunately?
So for young women, there is so much advice out there on how to navigate bias, what to do, what not to do. My focus would say just kind of do your best. And it's more, the private sector's job to then create the environment for you to thrive. One of the very interesting questions I've gotten as the private sector analyst before was from a young man when I was leading on a session at the American University in Cairo. And he said, what can I do to promote gender equality, like as a man entering the workplace? I think this is such an important conversation. So I think that it really is about time that we have the conversations with the private sector, with government, but also with young men to make sure that the way is paved for women to thrive, actually. One area that, or an obstacle that I faced that I think every woman faces is always kind of like when I was a bit younger as well, the credibility of what you say compared to sometimes your male colleagues. Sometimes I would feel like there was some reluctance to accept what I say as a finding, for example. And I think this is an issue that doesn't matter which industry you're in. But I think over the years I've tried to navigate it a little bit, as we all must learn to, and things are hopefully changing. So
let's hope for the best. Thank you so much, Heba, for today, and enjoy the rest of the lovely event. All right, with me is Layla as the Senior Director of Cash Management, Payroll, and Payment Operations at Emirate Post Group, a leading postal and express delivery provider in the region. Amazing panel discussion out there, some great and very significant topics, I think. How do you feel after the conversation?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable. It was really like a big opportunity for me to meet these panelists, open a door for encouraging other ladies, to take their role in the society, to learn and to grow more.
Now, I would like to ask you, how do you see the role of these events, such as the Arabian business one we created today, in really changing the way that people think about women empowerment, changing mindsets, and really placing the question of this gender gap in employment?
As you can see, like panel like this and conference will allow us ladies to share our opportunities, our challenges, whatever we are facing, our new ideas, and we know that I believe that empowered women can empower other women.
I also think that males have to play a big part in really, creating that safe environment for women.
Yeah, the men leadership, they played a very important role in empowering women, in coaching them, in training them, in helping them to succeed. And alhamdulillah, in UAE, our leadership, our management, our ministers, really, they are supporting women. We have many examples of many successful women in UAE.
Hope you have a lovely day ahead.
Yeah, thank you, dear.
Thank you. Up next with me, I have Nasreen Alkobai, ENY Consulting CEO. I would like to ask you, Nasreen, could you tell us a little bit more about the role which you play as CEO in your company, and maybe the challenges which you face in the logistics industry, which is quite male-dominated, if I'm not mistaken?
Absolutely. It's probably 99% male.
I wasn't mistaken then.
It's hard to reach the top.
And do you think events such as this one today really help empower women and let their voices be heard?
I think the more we educate our girls, we give them tools, They go out there, get great position, fight for themselves, fearless. And the more we give them the example that everything is possible, then yeah, absolutely. In that sense, today is very important. Just to go push the doors, even if they are locked, even if they are in steel, just bring them down. You can, and anything is possible.
Remember, if a door closes, a window always opens.
Always. And the world is full of opportunity. And to be honest, the first time, and that's a weird story, I will tell you now. The first time I realized I was in a room full of men, it was around when I was 32, 33. Before that, I never paid attention. I was so focused on what I was doing. And I was indeed with always men in supply chain in China, in Tokyo, in US, in all these countries. But the first time I realized it, I was like 33, something like that. And I was, oh yeah, it's true, I'm the only woman.
But I'm here.
But I'm here, and good, now I'm going to enjoy it even more.
Thank you so much for today. A lovely panel discussion out there, and enjoy the rest of your day here at the AB conference.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for creating this, and I hope we'll have more of them.
I hope as well. Thank you. And that's a wrap from the AB Women in Business 2022 conference. Some great insights and female leaders voicing their opinion on how to bring change to the agenda, reduce that gender inequality gap, and focus on creating more female leaders. If you like today's behind the scenes coverage of the event, make sure to like and subscribe to Arabian Business, as well as comment your thoughts below. Is enough being done? We would love to hear what you have to say. My name is Mina Vucic, multimedia reporter, and see you soon with more content from Arabian Business.